Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm here with Molly. What we're going to do today is we're going to do a follow along yoga for athletes. Yoga is really beneficial for athletes. Molly will tell you why, but I'm going to do it with her so you can see me struggle, and she's going to talk us through and make sure that we have a safe and effective workout.
So today what we're going to be working through is a nice mobility flow to help support the joints, the fascia, range of motion and flexibility, which is so beneficial for athletes to then help your performance. So we're going to begin seated today. If you've got really tight hamstrings and tightness in the lower back, you can sit yourself on a yoga block or cushion if you don't have them at home. Alternatively, you can kneel if it is uncomfortable, cross-legged as well. And once you find that nice comfortable position, you're just going to relax your hands wherever they feel comfortable, whether that's the knees, resting them on the ankles, or even just relaxing them to sides, wherever you feel comfortable. And then as we begin, option now is to close down the eyes or just soften the gaze. And as you inhale, finding that length in the spine, shining the crown of the head up to the sky. And as you exhale, feeling the shoulders relax and soften, and feeling a little bit heavier in the sit bones. And just begin to follow your breath today, noticing the quality, where it's traveling to, whether it's the chest, the belly, maybe both. And then as you exhale, how the body feels as you begin to let go, maybe beginning to already let go of some tension that you're holding here. Just following the breath 3 more times as you inhale, where it travels, how it feels. And as you exhale, that relaxation beginning to ensue through the body. And as you take your next inhale, gently drop your chin down to your chest. Option is to stay static and still here. Or if you have quite a lot of tension in the back of the neck, maybe just begin to rock the ears right to left, nice and slowly. Being mindful of any signals the body might be giving you. And then coming into a little bit of stillness. As you take your next inhale, lifting the chin up to the sky, just where you get a nice little extension through the chest and the neck, being mindful that you're not compressing the top of the spine by bending the neck too far back. And then again, you can stay static, or you can drop the ears from right to left, just to deepen into the side of the neck. And then just softening the head forwards, bring it back to that center point. And we're just going to take a few little head floats, gazing over to the right side first. Still thinking about lengthening through the spine. And then softly take it over to the left. If you do hold quite a lot of tension in the chest and maybe in the front of the shoulders, option is to turn the palms towards the sky, just for a little bit of external rotation. Just taking that last one over to the left. And then gazing back to the front. If the hands are rotated, just turning them back down onto the knees. And we're going to take a seated cat-cow to begin with today. So as you inhale, gazing up to the sky, allowing the chest to lift as well. And as you exhale, tucking the chin down to the chest, rounding the spine to create a nice arch. We're going to take it 3 more times. Inhale, gaze up, pressing the hands against the thighs or the edge of the knees. Exhale as you tuck the chin, rounding through the spine. Taking 2 more, really think about that movement of the chest as you come up, opening, maybe even opening out those shoulders. And as you round, really letting that spine curl. Taking that last one. And then finding that length in the spine, feeling nice and comfortable, maybe a little bit looser through the hips already. We're going to come into a seated rotation. If you struggle with a rotation movement, you can have blocks handy to rest the hands on. You can still be sat on blocks if you are quite tight here, or come onto your knees. So what we're going to do, we're going to inhale, reach the arms up to the sky. And then as you exhale, placing the right hand to the outside of the left thigh. And the left hand either goes in line with the hip, you can rest it on a block or the floor, Or if you have a little bit more range of motion, then you can take the hand to mirror the lower back. As you inhale, think about lengthening the spine up. And then as you exhale, gazing to the side or maybe towards the back shoulder. I'm going to stay here for 4 more breaths. With every inhale, think about lengthening up through the spine. And as you exhale, maybe deepening that rotation. Nice deep breaths. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, maybe gazing a little bit deeper, maybe just breathing into the space that you're in. Being mindful that you find a physical edge, but not going past it, not forcing yourself into any discomfort. On your next inhale, softly gaze forward, leaving the hands where they are. Exhale for nothing. Inhale, you're going to reach that left hand up towards the sky. Take another inhale to find length between the rib cage and the hips. And then as you exhale, reaching over towards that right side. Think about drawing those shoulders down away from the ears. And you can gaze down towards the thigh, to the center, or up towards the sky, whatever feels the most comfortable today. Think about drawing that shoulder down from the ear. Lovely, take in 1 more breath. And then as you inhale, tuck the chin to the chest. We're going to restack the spine, coming back up to seated, and that left hand is going to cross over the right. We're going to come into an eagle pose now, and there's 3 different variations that we can take. Option 1, we bring our hands onto our shoulders and lift the elbows up, so you might already feel a little bit of a pull through the scapula. Option 2, taking the arms back out, we bend the arms towards the face and place the backs of the hands together, and then lift those elbows up. And then option 3, if you're a little bit more mobile here, you can take a bind, so you wrap the hands round, palms together. But just take it to your edge, so don't force it. You don't have to look like me, you don't have to look like Tom, you can just be in your space here. So whichever variation that you're in, you're going to take a nice long inhale, elevate those elbows, maybe to shoulder height, maybe a little bit more, depending on the space that you have. And then really focus on your breath here. We're going to stay for 3 breaths. Relaxing those shoulders a little bit. Give yourself a smile if you feel a bit struggling here. Finding that length in the spine. Last one. And then as you inhale, gently unfold the arms. You're going to extend them out to the side, flexing the hands, really pushing the heels of the hands away. Option is to open that chest back up to the sky and then soften those arms down. Just give your shoulders a few little rolls. Maybe get your breath back as well. We're going to repeat that on the second side. So inhale, reaching up. And this time as you exhale, taking the left hand to the right thigh. And the right hand either comes in line with the hip or towards the back. Inhale to find length. And as you exhale, gazing to the side or over that back shoulder, and think about drawing those shoulders down away from the ears. Just finding your edge without any force. 2 more breaths, nice and deeply, lengthening as you inhale. Maybe deepening that rotation as you exhale. Last breath. And as you inhale, softly gaze forwards. Exhale for nothing. Inhale, reach that back hand over the head. Take another inhale to lengthen. And as you exhale, fold it over to that left side and think about softening those shoulders away from the ears. Again, head can be down, center, or up towards the sky. Just to where it feels comfortable. Feeling a nice deep stretch through the lower back, maybe even the hips here. So making sure that you're still breathing into any areas that you feel tension. And then as you inhale, drop the chin down to the chest. Exhale, rolling that spine back up and now stacking that right hand over the left, coming into eagle. Now this side might be the same as the first. This side you might have a little bit difference in your range of motion. So just be mindful, work through each one. So we'll start with bringing the hands onto the shoulders. If that feels enough, stay here. Second option, folding the arms, back to the hands together. And then that third option to bind, wrapping the palms together. So whichever variation you're taking, as you inhale, we're going to lengthen those elbows up. Exhale, soften the shoulders down, but keep the elbows elevated. And then this time, option is to drop the chin down to the chest. And wherever you feel your tension, think about breathing into that space. And as you exhale, feel that space, that tension soften and dissolve. 2 more breaths. And then on your next inhale, soften those elbows down, release your bind or your hands. And then as you exhale, stretching the arms out to the side, maybe opening the chest, and then take it down. Give your shoulders a little roll. We're going to come into our all fours position. So knees are going to be placed underneath our hips and our hands are going to be underneath our shoulders. If you do struggle with your wrist, then you can have your hands a little bit further forward so it's more comfortable. And you want your fingers to be spread out nice and wide. Option is to have the feet flat on the floor, if I turn sideways, or you can tuck them underneath if that gives your knees a little bit more comfort. For anyone that does suffer with knees, you can also roll your mat over to pad out the area or place a blanket or cushion here as well. So taking our all fours cat-cow, as you inhale, you're going to soften the belly down to the floor, lifting the hips, and then gaze up to the sky. As you exhale, rounding through the spine, think about drawing the navel to the spine, tucking the tailbone under and gazing down towards the belly. Inhale to soften the belly, lift the hips, lift the head. And then exhale around, really pushing through the palms, pulling that navel to the spine. Taking 2 to 4 more, whatever feels good in this moment. Inhale as you come up, exhale as you round. So as you round, really think about pushing the shoulder blades up towards the sky. And then as you soften, really relax the belly. Think about sending the tailbone up, opening that chest and gazing just where it feels comfortable on the neck. Coming into that final one. And then we're going to come to our all fours position. So just finding a nice neutral position through the spine. We're going to come into a child's pose. So option is to have the knees together and sit down. Lengthen the arms until you can rest the head. If the head doesn't meet the floor, then you can use a block to rest the forehead on. And then another option of child's pose is to have the knees mat width apart, big toes together, and send the hips down. So you want to send the hips down first rather than trying to get the chest and the head down to the floor. And if this is an area that you struggle with, just hold it here and then eventually walking those hands forwards, relaxing down. And you have an option to take an active child's pose. So instead of relaxing the hands, you'll cup the hands and press the fingertips against the floor, and that just changes the dynamic of the stretch along the lats and the shoulders. And again, just think about sending that breath into any areas where you're holding tension. We're going to softly walk our hands over to the right side, so maybe lifting the head first. If you're taking that active press with the fingers, that's a nice little elevation. Walking the hands maybe 2 to 4 times over to that right side. An option is to have the hands shoulder width apart, or you can bring that left hand on top of the right if that's not too tight. But just be mindful of how the body feels. If it feels too much, you can take it away. And as we breathe into this space, maybe it opens up and then you can place the hand a little deeper, or the more times that you practice this, the more space will open and allow you to deepen that stretch. So you're going to hold this for 3 breaths on the right side. And as well as thinking about lengthening out those arms, you're going to think about grounding those hips down. So I'm just going to place my hands so Tom can feel a little bit of a difference. So you'd inhale nice and deeply, and as you exhale, think about drawing that tailbone down towards the hips. That feel okay? It feels good. We're going to take it 2 more times. Inhale deeply. Exhale. And final breath. And then very softly walking the hands back to that center point, nice and slowly, taking your time not to shock the fascia or the joints of the hips. And then you're going to repeat that over to the left side. So again, option is to relax the hands or press the fingertips, and then gently walk those hands over to that left side 2 to 4 times. And maybe this side you've got a little bit less motion, so take the hand shoulder width. Maybe this is the side where you can deepen it and placing that right hand on top of the left. And we're going to take it for 2 more breaths. And as well as thinking about the hips, we're also going to think about the right shoulder on this side. So as you inhale, find a little bit of length. As you exhale, think about rotating that shoulder down. How does that feel? Feels better, good. We're going to take 1 more breath. Inhale. Exhale, sending that shoulder down, the hips down, breathing nice and deeply with the movements. And then gently coming back to that center child's pose, just for a moment to relax. So option here is to turn the palms up to the sky, just to see how that feels on the shoulders. Maybe even sending the hands either side of the body, taking a more restorative child's pose where the body can fully relax. If the arms are behind you, we're going to extend them in front and we're going to take a nice little hip flow. As we inhale, we're going to ripple up as if we're coming to our all fours, but then we're going to send our hips down, gazing forward. And if this is too much, I'm going to show you another variation as well. And you want to think about engaging the glutes to protect the lower back. As you take your next exhale, rippling through the spine, sending the tailbone down to your child's pose. So a regressed variation depending on your range of motion. As we inhale, we come onto our forearms, drop the hips, and come into a baby cobra. Option is to have the toes tucked or lengthened. And then as you exhale, again, sending it back, maybe walking the hands in to that child's pose. So whichever variation you felt most comfortable with, we're going to take 4. So with every inhale, taking that movement forwards, coming either to baby cobra or your upward facing dog. Think about relaxing those shoulders away from the ears, maybe softening into the elbows if they're quite high. And then exhale, engaging the core by pulling the navel towards the spine to then slowly sit those hips back down. Then coming into those final 3, using your breath as your pace. So however long your breath is, that's just where you're going to hold into that space. And then as you exhale, so the slower that you breathe, the longer that these movements will be, maybe even the deeper, depending on how the body's feeling today. Inhale as we come forwards, sending those hips down, engaging the glutes, opening up the chest. Lovely, exhale, take it back. That final one, really enjoying this movement, maybe feeling a little bit more looser now on this last one. And as you exhale, just relax into child pose for a breath. And just noticing any sensations in the hips, in the front of them, in the back as we take these gentle movements. And then as you take your next inhale, we're going to come back to our all fours position, preparing for our first downward facing dog. So our knees are under our hips and our hands underneath our shoulders. Again, if you do struggle with the wrist, they can be slightly ahead, just to where you can comfortably drum your fingers. That's a nice little indication. We're going to tuck the toes under as we inhale. And as we exhale, we're going to send our tailbone all the way up to the sky into your first downward dog. And maybe we have a nice deep bend here. And maybe even paddling through the feet, so you get used to this movement. Again, you want your fingers to be spread out nice and wide, drawing the shoulders away from the ears. And you're going to gaze down towards the toes. Coming into a little bit of stillness now. And the aim here isn't to get the heels down to the floor. It's about lengthening through the spine. So maybe you need that deep bend in the knees today, so you can feel that elongation from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Checking in that you are still breathing, especially as we're upside down. And then we're going to take 1 more breath. And this time as we exhale, just soften back down to our all fours position. Maybe rotating around the wrists if that is a little bit of a sensitive area for you. We're going to take another one. So inhale, tucking those toes underneath, Setting those hands under shoulders, and then as you exhale, we're going to send that tailbone all the way up to the sky, coming into your downward dog. Lovely. And think about softening through the shoulders, rotating the shoulders slightly out, and fingertips are going to be spread nice and wide, so you feel a nice firm grip on the floor. Maybe even pinching the floor by pulling the fingertips towards the hands if that helps with your grip as well. And as Tom is demonstrating, you can have that soft bend in the knee. So if we look from the top of the spine, making sure we're still breathing, we're going to find that nice long length. So if you could just lengthen your legs for me. And how does that feel on your back? Does that feel a little bit much? Yeah. Okay, so there's an indication. Your body is going to tell you if it's too much. So if it is, soften those knees. You don't have to be straight. The heels don't need to be down to the floor. But if you are in an extended variation, think about drawing your toes towards your shins rather than pushing the heels down towards the floor. You're going to stay for one more breath. And then this time as you inhale, gaze forwards, and you're going to gently step the right foot through, maybe even using your hand to assist it. Having the hands just underneath your shoulders, and then we're going to soften that back knee down onto the mat. Keeping the toes tucked for a moment, you're going to lift the leg again, and then see if you can take it back that little bit deeper, and then relax the foot down. So if this is a place where you're struggling lengthening the back, you can have your hands rested on 2 blocks. That just gives you that extra support and length in the spine. Otherwise, you can just have them directly underneath shoulders. We're going to take a nice deep flow. Inhale, find a bit of length in the chest and the spine. And as you exhale, we're going to rock back, flexing through that right foot. And just taking it back to where the hip comes over the knee. Maybe it goes slightly further back. So again, if this is a place where it's a little bit uncomfortable, you can have the blocks on the highest setting as we work into the hamstrings. As you take your next inhale, we're going to rock it forwards, maybe dropping the hands down, maybe taking the blocks with you. And then as you exhale, sending those hips back, either resting on blocks, or if you can keep the spine lengthened, resting the hands down onto your mat. We're going to take it 2 more times. Inhale as you rock forwards, open through the chest. And then exhale, sending those hips back. Taking that last one. And this time as you take it back, we're just going to stay here for 3 breaths. So again, if you need that support, find that length in the spine. Really flexing through the right foot so you feel a nice deep engagement through the hamstrings. And checking that you're still breathing. If you are using your blocks, be mindful that you're not pressing any weight. They're just there to help support you. And maybe think about sending the chest a little bit deeper down towards the thigh as you breathe a little bit deeper and release that tension, even if there's quite a lot. On your next inhale, we're going to rock it forwards. And then you're going to walk your right foot to the outer edge of the mat. So just heel toe it across. And then the hands are going to be on the inside of the leg, underneath the shoulders. So again, hands can be under shoulders, or they can be propped on blocks or pillows or books if that's what you're using, just to find that little bit of length in the spine. We're going to work through our hip mobility now, really working on the rotation. As you take your next inhale, you're going to roll the foot onto the outer edge towards the right side, so the knees opening out to the side. Feel okay? And then as you exhale, squeezing it back in. As you do, think about engaging through the glutes and the thighs. Inhale as you open out. Exhale as you squeeze it in. And again, similar to our other kneeling postures, if you need to roll the mat or pad underneath the knee, then just place something there for a little bit more comfort. On this last one, we're going to hold it out. Breathing nice and deeply. We're going to place that right hand onto the thigh. An option is to rotate around, maybe pushing into the thigh a little deeper if that feels okay, and gazing over that back shoulder. So that's going to really deepen that stretch through the left hip flexor as well. Taking one final breath. And then softly place the hand down as you rotate, closing that foot in. Tucking the toes of your back foot under, lifting the knee, to relax off a little bit. And then slowly sending that right knee back, and then taking a moment to rest in child's pose before we take it on that second side. Maybe feeling any new sensations in the body as the tissues begin to rehydrate, the circulation in this area that we've deepened into re-regulates as well. So it's quite common to feel some tingling sensations or even a change in temperature. So just allow it to be there. Coming into downward dog, preparing for that second side as we inhale, coming into all fours, tucking those toes under, checking your position, and then as you exhale, sending the tailbone up to the sky into your variation of down dog. And if you need to, taking those gentle paddles, maybe rocking through the hips or just finding that stillness. So you breathe deeply, gazing down towards the toes, softening the shoulders away from the ears. And if the knees are bent or they're extended, think about lifting the toes towards the shins so you get that nice deep stretch. Inhale, gaze forwards, and then stepping that left foot softly through. If it just comes to halfway, you can use your hand to give it a little boost. And then gently softening that right knee down to the mat, maybe lifting and then extending it a little deeper if you have more space to give in the hips. And again, you can use your blocks or you can rest your hands on the floor, coming into that nice little flow. Inhale, lengthen the chest. And then as you exhale, rock it back, flexing through the foot. Again, you can rock onto blocks. You can even place your hands onto hips if you are super tight in your hamstrings today. And as you inhale, rocking it forwards. Exhale, send it back. Really flexing through that left foot. Sending the toes up towards the sky. We're going to take it 2 more times. Inhale, send it forwards, opening the chest. And then exhale, rocking it back. Taking that final one. And then we hold it at the back for 3 breaths. Again, using blocks. Think about lengthening through the spine. So from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. So just relax your head a little bit. Relaxing the shoulders as well. As you breathe in, think about sending that breath into the area that you feel the most tension. And as you exhale, maybe even visualizing that space, softening, that muscle beginning to melt and dissolve away the tension. Nice deep breaths. You're going to take it for 1 more. Keep lengthening the spine, softening the shoulders. And then as you take your next inhale, rocking it back forward into that nice low crescent lunge. We're then going to walk that left foot to the outer edge of the mat. So just heel toe it gently across, placing the hands underneath shoulders, either placing them directly on the mat or on any support that you need. Taking that little book opener with the knees. You inhale, roll onto the outer edge of the left foot. Exhale to squeeze it in. And as you do, think about engaging through the glutes, engaging through the thighs. Inhale to open. Exhale to close, taking it 2 more times. And a nice gazing point to the top edge of your mat. That just makes sure that you're not dropping the head and creating a deviation in the spine or compression in the neck if you're gazing up. Holding that last one out and either staying here or bringing that left hand onto the left thigh. Option to gently open it a little bit deeper and gaze over that back shoulder. Breathing nice and deeply, just 1 more time. Then inhale, gaze forwards, place the hand down, roll that foot back in. Tuck the toes of the back foot under, draw that knee a little bit closer underneath the hip, and then sending that left foot back, resting back into that child's pose. Maybe this time you want to take that restorative one by resting the arms either side of the body. Or maybe you're really enjoying that nice deep stretch through the shoulders and you lengthen those arms away. And then very softly walking the hands in towards the body to bring yourself into a kneeling position. Maybe just resting here, finding a little bit of length in the spine. And then just dropping onto one side of the hip, extending those legs forwards. And we're going to take one final stretch before we come into the best posture, everybody's favorite. So we're going to flex through the feet here. If you are super, super tight, then you can add a nice little bend in the knees, and you can even place blocks like Tommy's underneath the sit bones if you have tension in the lower back. So you're going to inhale, lengthen the arms up to the sky. And then as you exhale, think about wrapping your index and middle fingers around the big toes. If you can't reach, bend in the knees. So all the while, think about lengthening the spine rather than getting the head down. You're going to take another inhale to lengthen and open the chest. Seeing if you can hold that open space, and then as you exhale, sending the chest down towards the thighs, whether the knees are bent or they're extended. And you'll think about drawing the elbows out to the side so that encourages that open space through the chest. We're going to stay here for 5 breaths. Inhale, find that length. Exhale, maybe softening a little deeper. Inhale. Bending the knees as much as you need to so you have that nice long elongation through the spine. You're going to take 3 more breaths. Inhale deeply. Think about lengthening, softening those shoulders. Exhale, maybe taking the elbows out to the side. Lovely. Last 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale, maybe you go a little bit deeper with each exhale. Maybe just stay in that space. So whatever you need today, find that comfort as much as you can in these stretches. Last one. And then as you inhale, lengthen that spine, finding a nice tall posture. And then exhale, taking the hands back down. If you're sound some blocks, just take them to the side. And then coming into your Shavasana, your final resting pose. And this is a really, really important posture as it allows your body to absorb everything that you've just done. It allows your tissues to rehydrate, the blood circulation to re-regulate through the body, and just to really relax into any spaces that we're still holding a bit of tension. So very gently laying yourself down. If you do suffer with the lower back, you can place blocks or pillows underneath the knees for a nice natural support. Extending out those legs, relaxing the arms to the sides, tucking the chin to the chest, and you can give yourself a nice little massage through the neck by just placing the index fingers and middle fingers either side of the spine and the neck, pressing into it, and then as you reach the bottom of the skull, lifting the head up, tucking the chin, and then keeping that position as you slowly lower down, and then you'll feel a nice little elongation through the neck. And then relaxing the arms down to the sides, tucking that tailbone under to lengthen the spine. And as always, you can soften the eyes or even close down the gaze completely here. Beginning to breathe into any areas that you still are holding on to tension. And as you exhale, maybe sighing away as you begin to relax. Breathing deeply, any spaces you still feel a little bit tense. And as you exhale, soften into those spaces, whether it's the shoulders, the hips, the neck, the back. Taking 3 final breaths and seeing if you can deepen each breath, maybe placing the hands now onto the belly. And as you inhale, feeling that expansion in the belly. And as you exhale, feeling that softness. Again, you can breathe out of the mouth or out of the nose, any space that feels comfortable for you. Every inhale, finding that expansion through the belly, lifting the belly button up towards the sky. And as you exhale, soften that belly down. Taking that final one. And then as you exhale, just relaxing the arms either side of the body. Gently beginning to wriggle the toes and the fingers, bringing some movement back in. And then softly guiding the knees into the chest, maybe holding the shins, maybe holding the thighs. An option is to take a gentle sway side to side. And this is going to allow for a nice self-massage in the sacrum, the lower back. And then option is to take some circles round with the knees clockwise and anti-clockwise, seeing if you can even out the circles. And then very gently rolling onto the right or left side, whichever side is your comfortable space. Coming into that fetal position, you can rest onto your bicep as a pillow. You can extend the arms out in front of you just for a moment. Taking a nice deep breath in. Exhale, sigh away. And then very softly, using your hands, maybe keeping the eyes closed as a challenge, maybe softly gazing them open, to walk yourself back into that comfortable seated position where you first began. And if you're no longer on blocks, then just observe how the space feels after that movement. Maybe softening the eyes back down, relaxing, taking that final breath to lengthen the spine. A final exhale to soften.
Thanks for that, Molly. That was great. Obviously, I need to learn to breathe, but I'll work on that. If you did enjoy that, please do give Molly a follow on her website, Instagram. She does a loads of online services, and then you could also come and visit her here if you're in the Cheshire area at Synergy Health and Performance. She does one-to-one yoga, Pilates, some preconception, prenatal work. So get in touch and follow her there. I'm also trying to convince her to start her own YouTube channel. So I will link that in the description as well once she's got that up and running. Check out the rest of my channel. There's loads of follow along videos and more. Please do take the time to give the video a thumbs up and hit the like button. Comment with how you found it. We'd love to know, and consider subscribing to my channel, and we'll be out with more content soon if I can convince Molly. See you soon.